I thought my marriage was perfect, until a stranger claimed to be her husband. It wasn't a movie, it wasn't a nightmare, it was my perfectly happy Saturday afternoon, suddenly interrupted by a man who claimed my wife of 5 years was actually his wife. They say every marriage has secrets, but I never thought mine was hiding a whole other husband. My name is Ethan, I'm 40, and the day Sarah, 38, and I hosted our annual summer barbecue. Our picture-perfect life dissolved into chaos. We had everything. A cozy suburban home, 2 beautiful kids, Lily, 7, and Max, 5, and a love that felt deep, comfortable, and absolutely secure. Sarah was the anchor of my life. She was a brilliant art restorer, grounded, funny, and effortlessly beautiful. We met 12 years ago, married 5 years later, and built a world together that was everything I'd ever wanted. This barbecue, a tradition we started, was supposed to be a celebration of that stability. The backyard was full of noise and laughter. My best friend, Mark, 40, was flipping burgers, and Sarah was charming a group of my colleagues. Everything felt right, until a strange car pulled up, a sleek, black sedan I'd never seen before. A man got out. He was tall, sharp-looking, maybe mid-40s, impeccably dressed in a suit that looked way too expensive for a casual barbecue. He looked completely out of place, and I watched, confused, as he walked straight past Mark and the kids, his eyes scanning the crowd with an unnerving intensity. Then he saw Sarah. The moment their eyes met, the smile froze on her face. It wasn't just surprise, it was raw, unadulterated terror. Her hands, which were holding a plate of appetizers, began to tremble violently. My heart immediately started pounding against my ribs. Something was terribly wrong. The man walked purposefully toward her. The general hubbub of the party seemed to fade into a dull echo as I watched the scene unfold. I started walking towards them, instinctively moving to shield my wife, my protective instinct kicking in before my brain could even process the threat. He reached her first. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't make a scene, but his words, when they finally came, were delivered with a calm, horrifying certainty. "Hello, Lena, I've finally found you." Lena, not Sarah. My wife's name was Sarah. My mind instantly dismissed it. A case of mistaken identity, a weird party crasher. I stepped up beside Sarah, putting my hand on her shoulder. Her skin felt ice cold beneath my touch. "Excuse me, friend," I said, trying to keep my voice even, "I think you have the wrong person. This is my wife, Sarah." The man turned to me, and his eyes, cold and assessing, looked me up and down. His lips curled into a dry, humorless smile. "Sarah," he repeated, savoring the name as if it were a cheap imitation. "How original. No, I haven't made a mistake. This is my wife, Lena Ivanova." He paused, his eyes drilling into Sarah's terrified face. "And you, I assume, are the unfortunate man she decided to play house with." The air completely left my lungs. My wife was silent, her head bowed, refusing to meet my gaze. Her silence was deafening. It confirmed everything. The man, the name, the terror, it was all real. "I am her husband, Viktor. Viktor Petrova," he stated, his voice carrying the authority of someone who was used to being obeyed. He reached into his inner jacket pocket and pulled out a slim, leather wallet. From it, he produced a document and held it out to me. "Perhaps this will clarify things." It was a marriage certificate. The names, Viktor Petrova and Lena Ivanova. The date was 8 years ago, 3 years before Sarah and I met. The photo on the ID card below it was unquestionably Sarah. Younger, yes, but those sapphire blue eyes, that small scar above her left eyebrow, it was her. My world didn't just stop, it disintegrated. The reality I had lived in for 12 years, the love I cherished, the family we created, it was all built on sand. I looked at Sarah, and for the first time, I saw a stranger. My mind frantically raced through every memory, every detail of our life, trying to find the crack I had missed. The party had gone silent. Everyone was staring, their faces a mixture of confusion and shock. Mark rushed over, looking ready to intervene, but the sheer gravity of the situation held him back. "Sarah, what is he talking about?" I managed to articulate the word, Sarah, feeling like a bitter joke on my tongue. She finally looked up at me, her eyes overflowing with unshed tears, filled with the guilt and desperation of a person caught in an impossible trap. She didn't deny it, she couldn't. Viktor didn't give her a chance to speak. He looked directly at me. "Lena and I have been legally married for 8 years. We have ties. She ran, and I spent a considerable amount of time and money finding her. I suggest you step aside." Step aside. He was talking about taking my wife, the mother of my children, away, right now, from our backyard barbecue. What would you do? Would you call the police? Would you physically fight this man, whose quiet confidence suggested he was dangerous? Or would you try to get your wife alone and demand an explanation? I chose the latter. My instinct was to protect the kids, who thankfully were still playing oblivious to the drama, and to get the truth, no matter how ugly. "We are not doing this here," I stated, my voice low and shaking with controlled fury. I grabbed Sarah's arm, urging her toward the back door. "You want an explanation, you'll get one, in private." Viktor seemed to consider this, a flicker of something, amusement. Pity, crossing his face. "Very well, but understand, Lena, this is not a negotiation. You are coming home." I ushered Sarah into the house, my legs moving on autopilot. As we passed the window, I saw Mark intercepting Viktor, trying to distract him, bless his heart. The backyard was a scene of stunned silence, my guests leaving their half-eaten food and drinks. The party was over. We reached our bedroom, the sanctuary of our marriage, which now felt like a prison. I closed the door and turned on her. I wasn't shouting, but my voice was raw, laced with disbelief. "Who is Lena? Who is Viktor? What is happening?" She collapsed onto the bed, covering her face with her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. The tears were real, the fear was palpable, but after the shock of the certificate, I couldn't trust anything I saw. She finally spoke, her voice muffled and choked with emotion. She confirmed the truth. Her name was Lena Ivanova. She was indeed married to Viktor Petrova, and she had run away 8 years ago. I love you, Ethan, she choked out. I love you and the kids more than anything. My life with you, that's the only real life I've ever had. Don't you dare talk about love. I snapped, the control finally beginning to crack. You married me under a false name. You let me father 2 children under a lie. Everything, our entire history, it's a performance. She sat up, her eyes wide, desperate to make me understand. She told me her original life was a nightmare. Viktor wasn't just a husband, he was an associate in a powerful organized crime network in Eastern Europe. She had married him young, a marriage arranged by her family, who were indebted to him. She was trapped, controlled, and terrified. She wasn't just his wife, she was an asset, a pawn. He was cruel, Ethan. Controlling. I wasn't allowed to have a job, friends, I was constantly watched. My life was suffocating. When his network was briefly under investigation 8 years ago, I saw my chance and I ran. I changed my name, used fake documents, and traveled halfway across the world. I became Sarah Miller, the person I always wanted to be. She found work, built a new identity, and eventually met me. The stories about her past, a distant family, moving around a lot, were carefully constructed lies to cover her tracks. I was always looking over my shoulder, she admitted. I knew this day might come, but I hoped it wouldn't. I hoped he'd think I was dead. The story was incredible, terrifying, and deeply sad. Part of me, the part that still remembered the love we shared, felt pity. The rational part of me was screaming at the betrayal. This wasn't just a lie about a failed engagement, this was a lie about her entire existence, a dangerous past that now threatened to consume us all. The children, I whispered, the thought of Lily and Max twisting my heart. Do they know? No, she said instantly. They know nothing. They are Petrova's children by name only, and he will never know about them. I would die before I let him touch them. The implication hung in the air. Viktor was dangerous. And he knew where we lived. Suddenly, a loud, insistent knock echoed from the front door. It was Viktor. I stood up, my mind racing. I was an architect, a father, a husband, not a secret agent. I was completely out of my depth. But I had to protect my family. Go to the safe, I ordered, my voice steadying with a new, terrifying resolve. There's a lockbox inside. Take the cash and the passports. Don't stop for anything else. We have to go. She stared at me, surprise mixing with her fear. You're coming with me. You think I'm going to let my wife, my only wife, and my children walk out that door alone with him waiting outside? I replied, the question rhetorical. We're a family. We face this together. Now, go. What would you sacrifice in that moment? Your home, your stability, your career, everything you've ever built, just to run into the unknown. As she rushed to the closet, I walked down the stairs. Viktor was standing patiently in the foyer, the door slightly ajar. Mark was still outside, looking helpless and worried. I'm not going anywhere, Viktor, I stated, standing in the middle of my living room, between him and the rest of my life. You're a fool, Ethan, he said, shaking his head. She's not worth it. She belongs to me. She always has. He then said something that completely chilled me to the bone. And those 2 beautiful children upstairs. They look surprisingly like you, for being Sarah's kids. Lena was never very good at keeping secrets. He knew about Lily and Max. He must have been watching us for a while. They are my children, I growled, all fear now replaced by pure, blinding anger. And you will never see them. We'll see about that, he said, his eyes narrowing. He took a step toward the stairs. That's when the doorbell rang again. A diversion, a chance. Mark, call the police. I shouted toward the door. Viktor looked annoyed, but before he could react, Sarah, no, Lena, appeared at the top of the stairs, carrying a small backpack. She looked determined, a fierce new light in her eyes. Viktor, she called out, her voice clear and strong. I'm not going back, not ever, and you will never touch my children. He moved like lightning, but I was faster. I lunged at him, tackling him backward, sending the 2 of us crashing into the coat rack. It wasn't a fight, it was a desperate tangle. I was no match for him physically, but adrenaline and the primal need to protect my family gave me a brutal strength. Go, Lena, now. She didn't hesitate. She ran down the stairs and straight out the back door, where Mark was waiting. They vanished into the garden. Viktor pushed me off with a grunt, his face a mask of rage. He looked at the back door, then at me. His eyes promised a future of pain I couldn't yet comprehend. This is not over, Ethan, he hissed. You've just declared a war you can't win. He glanced at the front door, realizing the police could be seconds away. He adjusted his expensive suit and, with one last venomous look, turned and walked out the front door, leaving me bruised and shaken on the floor of my shattered home. The police arrived minutes later, but Viktor was long gone. The house, my sanctuary, was now a crime scene, a memory of the perfect life that was no more. I gave a vague, panicked story about a break-in attempt, not daring to speak the truth, not yet. I found Sarah and the kids at Mark's house hours later. She had told him everything, and Mark, being Mark, had immediately organized a safe house, cash, and a plan for them to disappear completely. He was ready to risk everything for us. I had a devastating choice to make. Stay, clean up the mess, sell the house, dismantle our life, and then join them. Or disappear with them now, leaving everything behind. I chose to stay. Someone had to handle the aftermath, the finances, the disappearance. It was the hardest decision of my life, watching my wife and children drive away into the night, knowing I couldn't go with them, knowing that I might never see them again if Viktor found them first. My life now is a carefully managed lie. I continue my work, I act normal, but every morning is a performance. I'm selling the house, liquidating assets, all while constantly looking over my shoulder, searching for any sign of Viktor. Sarah, Lena, calls me from burner phones from different countries. The conversations are brief, tense, and full of heartbreaking love. Lily and Max just think mommy had a job opportunity abroad, and daddy will join them soon. The perfect marriage was a lie, but the love we found, the family we created, is real. I'm fighting for that realness, for a second chance at the life we deserve. The man who claimed to be her husband opened my eyes to a brutal reality, but he also showed me the fierce strength of the woman I married. What do you think? Did I make the right decision to stay and clean up the mess, or should I have gone with them immediately? This is my reality now, a cold war waged from a safe distance. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. If you want to know what happens next in this terrifying journey, please like, share, and subscribe.